What if the moment you almost scrolled past this video was not an accident? Think about that for a second. Out of everything competing for your attention right now, out of every distraction, every notification, every other thing pulling at your mind, something made you stop here. Something brought you to this exact message at this exact moment in your life. And maybe, just maybe, that something knows what you need to hear today. Before we go any further, if you've ever felt like the universe was trying to tell you something, type "I'm ready" in the comments right now. And if this message speaks to your soul today, a simple like is your way of saying, yes, I was meant to be here, because here is the truth that most people are never told. There are moments in a person's life, quiet, ordinary moments, when something greater than coincidence reaches through the noise of daily existence and whispers directly to the heart. Not through lightning or earthquakes, not through grand miracles or dramatic signs, but through a gentle, persistent feeling, a pull, a knowing. Uh, a message that arrives dressed in ordinary clothes but carries the weight of something eternal. Today is one of those moments. This is not just another video about motivation or self improvement. What you are about to hear is older than any book, deeper than any philosophy, and more personal than any advice anyone has ever given you. It is a message that has been carried across centuries, spoken by mystics, written in the margins of ancient texts, and whispered in the silence between heartbeats. It is the message that life itself has been trying to deliver to you. And it begins with a single profound question, one that the wisest souls throughout history have sat with for years. What if you are not behind in life, but exactly where you are meant to be? And there is something sacred waiting for you in this very moment. Stay with us. Because what comes next may change the way you see everything. For thousands of years, across every corner of this earth, human beings have looked up at the sky and asked the same question. Not in the same language, not with the same words, but with the same aching, searching heart. Is there something more? Is anyone listening? Does my life have a purpose beyond what I can see? And what is remarkable, what is truly astonishing, is that across every civilization, every culture, every era of human history, the answer that came back was always the same: yes. And it has never stopped speaking to you. The ancient Egyptians believed that the universe operated through a divine principle they called Maat, a cosmic order, a sacred balance woven into the very fabric of existence. They did not see life as random. They saw every event, every encounter, every struggle as part of a vast and intelligent design. A design that was always moving toward harmony, always guiding the soul forward. The Greek philosophers, Socrates, Plato, the Stoics, spoke of something they call the logos, intelligence, a divine reason that permeated all of creation and gave meaning to even the smallest moments of a human life. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men who ever lived, wrote privately in his journal that he felt guided by something beyond himself, something wise, something patient, something that never abandoned him, even in his darkest hours. In the ancient Indian traditions, this same idea appeared as Dharma, the sacred path uniquely designed for each soul. The great teachers of that tradition taught that when a person aligns with their Dharma, life does not become perfect, but it becomes meaningful. And meaning, they said, is the greatest gift the universe can offer a human being. The Stoics of Rome taught that there was a pneuma, a divine breath running through all living things, connecting every soul to a greater whole. They believe that nothing truly happens in isolation. That every event carries within it a hidden lesson, a concealed gift, a doorway to deeper understanding. If only we have the courage to look. Even the mystics of the medieval world, those quiet, burning souls who sat in silence for years seeking truth beyond words, at a certain depth of stillness, beneath all the noise and fear and distraction, there was something present, something that had always been there, something that knew their name before they were born. And here is what unites all of these traditions, all of these centuries, all of these searching hearts. They all believe that the universe is not indifferent to you. They all believe that there is an intelligence uh, woven into the story of your life, and that it communicates not through spectacular events, but through the quiet language of synchronicity, intuition, longing, and timing. Um, the message was never lost. It was never cancelled. It was never taken away. It has simply been waiting for you to become still enough to hear it. And across all of human history, the souls who heard it, truly heard it, were forever changed, not because they found a secret formula, not because they unlocked some hidden code, but because they realized something that rewrote everything they thought they knew about their lives, their struggles, and their place in this vast and breathing universe. They realized that they had never, not even for a single moment, been forgotten. Let me tell you about a man who had lost everything. His name does not matter, his story does, because in some way, at some point in your life, you may have lived a version of it too. He had worked for years building something he believed in, a career, a relationship, a version of himself that he thought was finally good enough. And then, in what felt like a single cruel moment, it all collapsed. The career dissolved. The relationship ended. The version of himself he had carefully constructed shattered. He sat in an empty room one night, staring at the ceiling, and asked the only question that felt honest in that moment: what was the point of any of it? And then something happened that he could never fully explain. In the silence of that room, in the ruins of everything he thought his life was supposed to be, he felt something. Not a voice, not a vision, but a presence, warm, steady, and completely unhurried. As if whatever it was had been sitting beside him all along, simply waiting for the noise to stop. And in that stillness, a thought arrived that did not feel like his own. This is not the end of your story. This is the end of a chapter that was too small for you. Now you may be a person of deep faith, or you may be someone who finds meaning through reason and philosophy. It does not matter. Or because what that man experienced in that room is something that crosses every boundary of belief. It is the experience of reframing, and it is one of the most powerful forces available to a human being. The ancient Stoics called it amor fati, the love of fate, not the passive acceptance of suffering, not pretending that pain does not hurt, but the radical, transformative choice to look at everything that has happened in your life, every loss, every failure, every shattered plan, and say, this too is part of something larger. And I trust the larger thing. They, they, the philosopher Epictetus was born a slave. He had no freedom, no wealth, no control over the external circumstances of his life, and yet he became one of the most luminous minds in human history because he discovered something that no one could take from him. The way he chose to see his life was entirely his own. He wrote that there are things within our control and things outside of it. जैसे हमें ना 10 टाइटल लिखे दें. And the moment a person stops exhausting themselves, trying to control what cannot be controlled, and turns that energy toward how they respond, how they grow, how they see, something extraordinary begins to happen. Life does not necessarily become easier, but it becomes navigable, it becomes meaningful. It begins to feel less like a series of random blows and more like a curriculum designed specifically for the evolution of your soul. Think of it this way. Imagine you are reading a novel. In chapter 3, the hero loses everything. Their world falls apart. If you close the book at chapter 3, the story seems like a tragedy. But if you keep reading, if you trust that the author knows where the story is going, you begin to see that chapter 3 was not the punishment, it was the preparation. You are not at the end of your story, you are in the middle of it. And the middle of a great story is always the most difficult and the most important part. जैसे ऐसे The message that has been trying to reach you across all the noise and distraction and fear is this: nothing that has happened to you has been wasted. Not one moment, not one tear, not one sleepless night. और इस जैसे हमें ना 10 टाइटल लिखे दें. Every experience you have ever lived through has been quietly shaping something in you that is not yet fully visible, something that is being forged, not destroyed. Something that the wisest part of you already knows, even when the frightened part cannot yet see it, and that something is exactly what we are about to uncover. Here is where it gets deeper. Here is where most people stop, because what comes next requires something that our modern world has quietly trained us to abandon. It requires stillness, not the stillness of doing nothing, not the stillness of emptiness or defeat, but the ancient, deliberate stillness of a person who has decided consciously, courageously, to stop running from their own inner life and turn toward it instead. Or because here is the hidden truth that the wisest traditions of human history all agreed upon but rarely spoke of openly. The message you are waiting for is not coming from outside of you. It's already living inside of you. And it has been speaking all along. The ancient important Greek philosophers made a sharp and two kinds of knowledge. There was episteme, the knowledge you acquire through study, through the accumulation of facts. And then there was gnosis, a deeper knowing, a direct experiential understanding that cannot be taught by any teacher or found in any book. It can only be uncovered from within. The Gnostics, those mysterious seekers of the ancient world, believed that every human being carries within them a divine spark, a fragment of something infinite, something eternal, something that existed before the body was born and will continue after it is gone. And the entire journey of a human life, they said, was the gradual process of that spark, remembering what it truly is, not learning, not acquiring, remembering. This is a profound and unsettling idea, because it means that everything you have ever truly longed for, the peace you cannot find, the purpose you cannot name, the love you keep searching for in all the wrong places, is not absent from your life. It is absent from your awareness, and there is a difference between those two things that changes everything. Consider the nature of a seed. Inside that small, unremarkable shell is everything the tree will ever be. The roots, the branches, the canopy, the fruit, all of it exists in potential within the seed. But if जैसे हमें not planted, if it is not placed, it is never of the earth, never subjected to pressure and moisture and time, it will never become what it already contains. Your struggles are the soil. Your pain is not punishment. It is pressure, the kind of pressure that transforms a seed into something that can feed the world. And now here is the lesser known insight, the one that most people is जैसे even those who study philosophy and spirituality for years quietly overlook. The moments in your life when you felt most lost were not the moments when the universe abandoned you. They were the moments when the universe was most intensely focused on you, because it is only in the dissolution of the old, only in the collapse of the version of yourself that was too small, too fearful. जैसे लिखे दें. Two, defined by other people's expectations, that the deeper self has room to emerge. The mystics called this process many names: the dark night of the soul, the sacred descent, the necessary unraveling. जैसे हमें ना 10 टाइटल लिखे थे, but regardless of what it was called, they all described it the same way, as the most frightening and the most holy passage a human being can walk through. Because on the other side of that passage is not just relief, on the other side is clarity, a bone deep understanding of who you are, what you are here for, and what truly matters. An understanding that cannot be given to you by any teacher, any book, or any external source of wisdom, because it has been earned through the fire of your own lived experience. And there is something else. Something even more quietly radical. The ancient teachers taught that the universe does not speak to everyone in the same way. It speaks to each person in the language most native to their soul. For some, So it speaks through beauty, through art, through music, through the sudden breathtaking sight of light falling through a window in a way that stops you completely. For others, it speaks through people, uh, through an unexpected conversation with a stranger who says exactly the words you needed to hear. For others, still, it speaks through circumstances, through doors that close, so that other doors invisible until now can open. The question has never been whether the message is being sent. The question has always been whether you are listening. And listening, real, deep, unhurried listening, requires something that feels almost rebellious in the world we live in today. It requires you to stop. To sit is जैसे हमें ना 10 टाइटल लिखे दे. To sit with yourself without distraction, without noise, without the endless performance of being busy, and simply ask, what is it that I already know somewhere beneath all of this? That I have been the title likhe de, I have been afraid to acknowledge, because quiet, steady, patient as starlight has been there all along waiting. Not with frustration, not with judgment, but with the infinite, unhurried patience of something that knows exactly how your story ends.